everybody. Madeline Parker here to talk about today's astrology. And today we have the good news that Saturn is stationing direct tomorrow on this full moon, which is very, very good for everything in general. Because basically we're starting to see something progress, something that we've had to work hard at, that we've been going back and fixing, gaining clarity on, restructuring, so basically sort of dealing with things that are important for the long haul, like clarity about who you are for Pisces, Saturn in your first house, clarity on who you are, who you want to be in your work. A more mature version of you is coming forward now, very reliable, more responsibilities. You're taking on responsibilities. There's a lot of sort of growing up in these energies for Pisces, where you're taking on a more practical approach to your career. Now, it also rules your 11th house. So there's some sort of gain or lucky recognition or lucky gain, or somebody you met through social media, or a social media account starts to happen. Something is happening involving your social media, your tribes group, and your career that now goes forward that you feel very confident about. So and you also have clarity on who you are and how you're going to perform your particular career or projects that are part of your security, long-term security. All right, so now we go to Aries. Aries is going to have Pisces, Saturn in your 12th. It rules your 4th house. It rules your 10th house, your career. That's Libra, rules the 4th. So basically you're clearing some sort of karmic, fear-based choice in career. So in other words, you now have a lot of clarity about how you want to go forward in your career, and it's going to be more spiritually, more soul aligned, Saturn and Pisces, but you're going back and perfecting clarity about what you're here to do. It's almost like a big existential crisis in a way, where you just say, you know what, I'm not going to live like just work for money, pay. I want to actually improve society and make the world a better place here. So you have this sort of new clarity on how you're going to do that. And it's more in alignment with what is your true heart calling. Okay, so that you're going to have clarity on that. Okay, so now we're going to go to Taurus. This hits in your 11th house, Saturn stationing direct. That's great. Some sort of long-term goal now goes forward. A tribe situation comes in. It could be travel, Saturn, Pisces. But basically some sort of a connection through tribes, social media goes forward. A goal, a long-term goal now is clear for you, what you want. You can actually make it happen. You could actually win some sort of lucky thing happen depending on your chart that actually feels financially very, shall we say, liberating for you. All right, so now we're going to see for Gemini. So that's in your 10th house. So you've got a career going forward. Again, you've gained clarity on what this career is about. Saturn rules your 8th and your 9th. So there is a spiritual sort of similar message, I would say a forward motion in some area of career that you are gaining clarity on. When Saturn was in retrograde, you were learning about, you were studying, you were interested. Now you want to go forward in some way in your career in a way that is very soul aligned and really a lifelong, shall we say, pursuit of finding what this career is. And now you see it. And now with Saturn stationing direct, you're all go. And this is going to start happening for you. And then we have for Cancer rising, Saturn rules your 7th house. So relationships could go forward, but then we've got travel and we also have teaching. I know for me, I'm Cancer rising. I'm getting tons of people. I was teaching when Saturn went into retrograde. I took a pause on teaching. I studied a lot more stuff that I wanted to learn. And now I'm getting, like all week, I'm just getting people after people. I mean, it's just crazy. People wanting me to teach. So I'm just like, wow, that's Saturn direct in my 9th house. So Saturn direct in our 9th house, Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon. You're seeing something go forward, either in travel, teaching, learning. You have clarity on if you're a teacher, you're going to have clarity on how you want to teach something and how you want to structure your program. I know I have about 3 that I'm thinking of presenting courses. One of them is the Tree of Life course, which is really great. It's the hero's journey. It's what Star Wars was based on. The wife of Luke, I forget his name, the guy who wrote the story, was studying tarot, and she was studying the hero's journey, and each of the tarot cards represents one of the paths of materializations from the unmanifest to the manifest. It's basically the journey of Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. So anyway, clarity for Cancer rising on how to teach, where to travel, or what to go learn and do. Something now goes forward in that area where you did not have clarity. The clarity is now there. And there's a maturity about this and I, mastery, because Saturn always brings mastery. So it's like you have an idea of what it is that you have a handle on that you can either teach, or you really know now exactly what it is you want to learn, because you know clarity with that Saturn, what your calling is. And so you now step forward to learn more on that, become a master of that. All right, so let's now go to Leo. Leo have this in Saturn stationing direct in their eighth house. Funding may open up if you've been trying to refinance something. It now goes forward. You may suddenly enable yourself to get a loan, or you could actually a really good time to apply for a loan. You have Venus in your sixth house of debt. It would not be in vain. You would be able to pay it back. It might be very auspicious to do that. And then, or a project with a joint partnership, a marriage partnership. This could be a relationship going forward, and deciding to share resources and cohabitate and higher quality of life, perhaps. What else? An inheritance that maybe you got would not come through for some snare or snag, now goes through. Maybe tax problems, debt problems that were a problem are now are resolved. You set up a payment that you can afford with the tax people. It goes forward. It's all cleared up. So that's all very much around money and finances for and joint partnership ventures for Leo. Now for Virgo, you're going to have this in your seventh house. So you have a relationship or contract, an agreement, or a partnership now goes forward. Clarity on who that is. I do know some Virgos who've been really gaining more and more clarity about what their divine true partnership is. And with that clarity, now don't forget Pluto is leaving your fifth house, which is really clearing the superficial patterning in relationships in your psyche body and burning out the pain of those failed relationships type scenarios. And then we're going into the Saturn, more mature. You're ready for your really long-term solid relationship. There's a maturity in you now around relationships. So now let's go to Libra. Libra are having this in your sixth house, Saturn stationing direct, which is actually much better because Saturn in retrograde in your sixth house would have brought work stress, money stress, perhaps hidden enemies, people working against you, maybe debt that felt like you couldn't pay. But all of that now is going forward. That opens up. The work thing goes forward. Money is going to start flowing with that full moon in your eighth house. There's nice income coming in. But also if you have been ill or struggling with health, that is now goes forward, that there's a solution now, that you're going to see the other side of that. There's a maturity. You may have quit things. You may have released some bad habits that now you're seeing the results of. You succeed at it. You can relax. You've now quit, basically. Let's take a look at Scorpio. Scorpio is in your fifth house of relationships. So I would say you have been maybe isolating, not in a lot of interaction with friends and people. You've been more in isolation, really trying to clarify the friends that are real, the friends, because this is all about maturing, because Saturn in retrograde really grows us up, helps us become more mastery and more clear. So now you're really clear on who your friends are, which are the friends that you can really see a long-term future in. In other words, you're investing in the proper friends that are real for you, that last a long time, that are not superficial. You're probably releasing quite a few friends that have been. With Saturn in direct, you have a lot of clarity on what your good friends are, and maybe possibly a relationship goes forward that is not just superficial, that is your true person, that turns into that is your divine partner, that is your true person. All right, now looking in at Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, Saturn direct in your fourth house. So possibly you've wanted to move and you haven't been able to move. Now you're going to get to move. let's say there's a maturity here. Saturn in your fourth house, you've been more responsible about your living situation. You've been responsible. You've been planning things, building things, trying to restructure your living environment. Sagittarius, I know, have been living in situations that are not ideal, like with roommates or in sort of temporary situations that now become more permanent. In other words, you can go forward into living in an area that is more stable. By the time that Saturn leaves your fourth house, you'll be in your stable living home. So basically, Sagittarius have been finding home, basically. So you sort of have clarity and you find home. And if you don't move right away on Saturn direct, you start to have very good clarity about where your home is going, where the plan is, and to sort of take strides in that direction. I'm about to sneeze. I'm a Saggy sun, so maybe that's a sign for me. I usually just notice what happens to me by following my ascendant, but of course you can follow your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, all of them. So all Saggies, pretty much sun, moon, and ascendant, will be finding a stable, living, long-term situation. They're going to be settling down here in the end, by the end of this Saturn transit to the fourth. All right, so let's go to Capricorn. Well, Capricorn, boy, you guys are going through total and utter transformations. You're out of the woods. Way better energies for Capricorn. As soon as Pluto goes into your second house in Aquarius, it's going to relieve you. The finances are going to be much better for Capricorn, because they've really done a lot of purging, a lot of ego burn with that Pluto in their first house, showing them that there's a God and they're not it. Now, I don't mean that like all Capricorns think they're God, but they do in their own life. They think they're the God in their own life. And so what they have to wake up to is you're 50% of the God in your life. There's another force in your life, which is the ethereal God, the non-ego God, the intuitive, the inner God, the one that we're connected to consciously. So the Capricorn wants to work from head and God, cosmos alignment, internal alignment. So that's really been a big process for Capricorn, very much transformed people. Capricorns, really wonderful to be Capricorn right now, because all that hardship you went through really puts you into a diamond. You guys are diamonds now. And so Pisces directing your third house. So new that media. So maybe perhaps you stalled on doing a website or a social media platform. You've been sort of held back. You haven't really known who to be. Now there's a maturity of that. There's a clarity. You know how to be a master at social media. There's something you get clarity on how you want to go forward in your media communications. Or also it could be a move of somewhere else in your chart. I often see third house transits literally moving. Your neighborhood around you is changes. People around you can be relationships, but also third house Saturn direct would be, I see two crows up there, communication going forward with perhaps relationships, that have been in separation. What else? Third house, sales. An ability to sell something goes forward. You start a business you've been wanting to start. So, and also just ideas, clarity of mind, clarity of your internal dialogue that needs to change, your beliefs, your thinking. You now have a more mature, more structured way of allowing your mind to work in this world. Okay, so now we go to Aquarius. So Aquarius is in your second house. Yay, money goes forward for you, Aquarius. Jobs go forward, work goes forward, some kind of a creative project now that's been stalled, that have been in idea form, that it felt like you couldn't do, you didn't have clarity around, now goes forward. Now you have clarity about a way to make money. You can see a way, maybe perhaps when Saturn was in retrograde, there was an opportunity to make money, but it all got blocked, got stalled, blocked here, left and right. Now goes forward. I know if some people who work in the film industry, you don't get the job right away, but it's down the line, and often they have to raise the money and it's not there. And now it's coming in and it's there, because we've got this Taurus full moon, by the way, in your fourth house. So property, real estate, you could sell a property. It's a windfall, financial windfall could come in through that. So Saturn direct in your second house, finances are better, way better. So now, and plus don't forget Saturn is your ruling planet. So you're going to feel that even stronger. So now for Pisces, did we do Pisces? I think I started out with Pisces. Just to recap Pisces. maturity, grown up, clarity on who you are, stepping forward, taking on more responsibilities, feeling like you can do it. You have mastery over yourself. You've grown up on some really big level, and the world's going to notice. All right. I hope this was helpful. Namaste.